I've been meaning to talk about this for a very long time. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing the same old excuse that this wouldn't be happening if Donald Trump was still in office. That we wouldn't have the inflation, we wouldn't have the constitutional crisis that we have. We wouldn't have high gas prices and whatnot if only Donald Trump was in office. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing that. And now it's gotten so bad to the point where people are actually blaming President Biden for the wars that are happening in Ukraine and now in Israel. It's all because Biden is president of the United States. It has nothing to do with the fact that Hamas launched a rocket attack against Israel. It's all Biden's fault. It has nothing to do with the fact that Russia is the one who started the war in Ukraine. A war, may I remind everyone out there, that Russia is actually losing. They're not gaining new ground. They're not gaining new territories. In fact, this war feels like it's becoming a quagmire, just like Vietnam was. But I guess I'm getting sick of this because of this talk of none of this would be happening if Trump were in office. He's not in office. He's gone, and I'm not being Joe Biden's defense attorney here. There are things about the man I don't like and things about him that should be changed. His policies need to change. But to blame him for something that he did not personally do, is becoming ridiculous. It's becoming stupid. Did Joe Biden get on the red phone and tell Israel to invade? You get what I'm saying. Did he call Hamas personally and told them to fire rockets at Israel, knowing full well that Israel will counterattack like they're doing right now? Did he call Vladimir Putin and tell him to attack Ukraine, sparking a guerrilla war that Russia is losing? You see, what really bothers me about all of this is the simple fact that you're saying that all this would not have happened if Donald Trump were in office. You don't know that. We were in 2 wars under Trump. You just don't want to talk about those wars. We are suffering right now. What Donald Trump has done and when he was in office during his regime was way worse. He eroded the trust we should have of the government. Now, I'm not saying believe the government blindly, mind you, but he made it so corrosive that we all as Americans were afraid to even talk to the government, at least redress the grievances, as it says to do so in the Constitution. He has made politics in this country so corrosive that he's actually telling people not to vote. Because he says in his last rally, we have enough votes. You don't need to vote. He's made the rule of law so poisonous that when the rule of law is pointed directly at him and his family for crimes that they committed, half the country wants to burn it just because Donald Trump is being prosecuted for the laws he broke. And he and his MAGA, because it's not just Donald Trump, but the rest of his MAGA have made this country's politics so corrosive that we have a congresswoman, as I showed in the previous video, a congresswoman is steps away from being censured because she has done horrific things in the name of this country. Things that would get people like you and people like me out of office for. See, there is so much about Donald Trump I can say that he did in this country while he was president that I could say probably shouldn't have happened and probably wouldn't have happened if Hillary Clinton had won the 2016 election instead of Donald Trump. That's another video entirely. But I'm going to give you one primary example of that. We wouldn't have had January 6, 2021 if at the time of that election Hillary Clinton lost and some other Republican won, or another Democrat got the presidential election from the Democrats. January 6th probably would never have happened. Because when you're trained in politics, your job is to bow out gracefully, challenge the results legally, but bow out gracefully. Donald Trump did not do that. And then as a result, January 6, 2021. One of the cases that's probably going to hang him alongside what's happening in New York, alongside what's happening in Georgia, in which people are beginning to flip on him. None of this would be happening if Donald Trump wasn't the president in 2016, from 2016 to 2021. What we're seeing in our country now wouldn't be happening. And there's a whole huge list of what would have happened. We wouldn't have a president who would just ignore the fact that African Americans were being murdered en masse by law enforcement. We would have, if Hillary Clinton were the president that we all believe that she could have been, she would have taken action. Not just give us fake platitudes. If Hillary Clinton were the president instead of Donald Trump way back when, the withdrawal from Afghanistan probably would still be in chaos, a chaotic one. But at least she would have gotten it done during her presidency and taken the hits from the right wing. But that's another story. But I guess what's really bothering me about all of this is that ever since the attack by Hamas against Israel and Israel's counterattack, not to mention what's happening in Ukraine with Russia, and now the growing tensions with the Chinese and Taiwan, everyone is screaming that Joe Biden is going to start World War III. And Republicans, and you know which ones I'm talking about, especially Mary Jean Taylor Greene, are all over social media screaming World War III is coming and it wouldn't happen if Donald Trump was in office. You don't know that, Green. You don't know that, MAGA. You honestly do not know that. But when you start, now, I'm not naive. I wouldn't call myself a huge student of the Bible or anything like that. I read the Bible, but I wouldn't call myself a biblical scholar. But I wholeheartedly believe we're seeing the beginnings of the return of Christ. Maybe. The Bible says you will not know the hour or the day, or words to that effect. But when you start saying that because one person isn't in office and another person is, that this is the starting point of World War III, all because one person isn't in office, you don't turn yourself to biblical prophecy. You don't even turn yourself to politics. All you turn to is popular rule. Now, as much as people respect Trump or like Trump, he is not the all-seeing, almighty God you guys want to portray him as. He is just a man with flaws. And those flaws are being shown out day in and day out as long as these investigations are going, as long as these courtroom cases are going. The man went off in the New York courtroom and the judge needs to put a gag order on him or Matter of fact, he already violated the gag order. Lock his ass up for the weekend. Let him see that this is not a joke. But when you start saying that one man can solve all the problems, and here's the thing, here's the joke to this, and I'm going to hit you religious people in the heart. When you say that one man can solve all the problems, and that man isn't Jesus Christ of Nazareth, when you assign that idea to Donald Trump, you turned your back on Jesus. I know that's going to hurt you all, and I don't care, because that's the truth. Now, Donald Trump may have been, in your eyes, a great president. He wasn't. In your eyes, he may have been the man who delivered on the idea of, as he said during his campaign, I alone can fix it. He didn't. I alone can fix it, which is code for, as long as you all don't notice, that I'm the one who broke it. You see, the real scary part for me on all this is when people keep screaming that World War III is coming, that because Donald Trump is not in office, because of everything that's happening in the world. Now, here's the thing. Mary Jane Taylor Greene posted that a few days ago, that we need Donald Trump back in office to prevent World War III. Here's the thing to that. World War III may happen while Donald Trump is in office. Here's the joke. You're assigning Donald Trump a role that he is not prepared or equipped to fulfill. The man has no political background or expertise or temperance. He showed that in the 4 years he was president. But when you assign him to the idea that he's a miracle worker, and he's never performed a single miracle in his entire life, that means you lost your soul and sold it to a man like Trump. Now, maybe Donald Trump could prevent World War III. Maybe he can. I'm not saying he can't. But given to the history of what this man is, and who this man is, and what he has done, I frankly doubt it. Trump has shown absolutely no respect for the people of this country. He has shown no respect for the people in the world. Just a few days ago, a right-wing article says that Hezbollah is smart and so is Trump. I mean, that to me is wrong. You're talking about a man who didn't even know what the nuclear triad was until someone told him during the 2016 campaign. You're talking about a man who miraculously said that there's the same two letters and us, meaning as in the definition of us, and US, the abbreviated version of the United States. And you seriously believe a man like that could stop World War III from happening? But I guess what really bothers me is the simple fact that people are saying this more frequently. Not that Jesus is coming back, unless you're singing church, in my church, in fact, I can say. But you're saying World War III is coming as if they're wanting it. As if, not because they're trying to get ready for a war, but because they're trying to embarrass Biden. They're trying to use the threat of World War III to hurt Biden. Just as they voted down every bill that could help American citizens with inflation, high gas prices, high grocery prices. As they've done all that just to hurt Biden, and it is wrong. I'm not naive. Considering the lunatics that are in charge of the belligerents that are fighting these wars, especially Vladimir Putin, and to a much lesser extent, Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, doing a blitzkrieg, killing everything that moves over there instead of focusing on the real enemies. That's the point. But when you start trying to use the threat of war, but honestly, that's all you got with the MAGA. That's all you got with the Republican Party. Scaring people into thinking that you're at risk at every corner, every street corner. And thinking and making them convinced that only the man, like Donald Trump, can save you. It is wrong. You want to prevent a war? You in Congress, you in the Senate, the President of the United States, and everyone else in between I forgot to mention should do your jobs. Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a ceasefire agreement that could save lives on both sides. No one needs to die in this war. No one needs to. They made the point. Israel has made the point clear. You fight us, we're coming after you, and it should end right then and there with the destruction of the terrorist Hamas. But this guy is going way out of control. And this is the kind of person you want back as president of the United States? A man like Trump, who makes up lies all the time. Not to mention his people in Congress that will spread those lies. No more. It's got to stop. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.